festivity. First of all, I want to thank Ray and Fernie for putting on this little gathering. And then I want to do a little bit of experiment. But first of all, I want to applaud all of you for stepping up and taking action and coming to this event this weekend. I remember not too very long ago, just a couple years, sitting right exactly where you are, and I still spend a lot of money on events every year. But I want to do a little experiment and a little exercise, if you will. I want everybody to stand up, and I want you to turn. I'm going to take 30 seconds, and I want everybody to turn and introduce yourself to somebody you do not know, and tell them exactly what you do. Okay. The reason I did that little exercise is for the sheer fact that the number one reason you should be here right now is not to listen to all the speakers. I'm going to say it straight and be point blank with you guys. It's to network with each other. You never know who's sitting next to you. You absolutely do not. I know I can pick out a handful of people that are not speakers here that make multiple six figures and multiple seven figures on the internet that aren't even speakers here this weekend. And just on behalf of all the speakers and everything, network with us, talk to us, pick our brains. We're just people like everybody else. I mean, it's not, we're not some big fancy, A-list celebrity with bodyguards and all sorts of stuff. We like talking about this crap. Believe it or not. But that's the reason. So the most important thing, I can't even count how many great relationships and how many friendships and how many business deals I've made just going to events. And I typically go to an event. I'll spend $5,000 to go to an event, and I won't even go to the event. I'll stand in the hallway or at the bar networking with people because the juiciest details come out after a few drinks. So I just wanted to get that out of the way, but I have no idea. First of all, I want to say that I'm not a public speaker at all. I've only spoken probably 2, maybe 3 times before in my entire career in 8 years. So my presentation's not going to be pretty, and I'm probably going to screw up. So I just wanted to let you all know that. But as you probably noticed, I got a nice little sticker here. It actually is a friend and speaker here this weekend, Todd Falcone. He gave that to me this morning. It says, "No W-2." How many people hate their jobs? He had another sticker that I was wearing that had an inappropriate word on it that said something W-2. But I figured I'd wear this one just since we are being recorded. I have to be all correct and stuff. But I titled my presentation, "The Boring Yet Important Stuff." And I'm going to tell you a little bit about exactly who I am. Basically, I started in network marketing in 2002 in rural North Dakota. Believe it or not, in a town of 400 people. Can you say my warm market was a little bit burned at that point in time? I built a couple of different companies and started focusing on internet marketing in 2004. Took my business full-time in 2005, 1 month before my wife and I got married. So became the #1 affiliate for magnetic sponsoring through 2006 and 2007. I used traffic methods, like Craigslist and, believe it or not, eBay, and had a lot of results from press releases and articles. But in mid-2007, I moved to Texas and became a transplanted Texan. Yes, I'm a Longhorn fan. I moved to Texas because of work ethic and a simple thank you. I became partners in magnetic sponsoring and with Mike Dillard and Tim Irway. And here is, if you get anything out of this presentation, is the most important thing is a simple thank you can get you a long, long ways. Because of a simple thank you and my work ethic and saying thank you to Mike, I became partners in the company and eventually grew the company and became an internet millionaire. So if you do anything, just say thanks. There's no egos in this business. Just say, hey, thanks for helping me out. And I acted as CFO and managing partner for about 2.5 years, helping the company, as Jimmy said before, grow the company about 470% in a single year. We went from about 3 people, Mike, Tim, and I, to about, I think the company now has like over 20 employees, but I'm not even sure. But there's a great learning experience. I learned all the hard details it takes to run and grow and operate a successful internet marketing company. And there is a whole hell of a lot involved in running a large internet marketing company that most people don't ever talk about. And that's the whole point of my presentation here today, is everybody talks about traffic and sponsoring and getting more leads and all that crap. Now, what do you do when you make all the money? Nobody ever teaches you that stuff, or how to operate that business and run it like a business. So I always say, run your business like a business. But after a tough decision, I decided to leave magnetic sponsoring late last year. I stepped down and sold my partnership back to Mike and Tim. I now do internet marketing consulting where clients pay me as much as about $30,000 to share my ideas, share my concepts and everything, and help them with their business. I'm the founder or one of the primary forces in several different sites like TexasWealthClub.com, bizgrowers.com, where I help small offline businesses, MonsterNet Ventures, Big Online Results, and Steps2.com, among many others, of course. So a little bit of overview of exactly what I'm going to get to in this presentation. We're going to talk about transparency, incorporating your business, credit cards, legal, and all that cool stuff, some testing stuff, keeping more customers, and if time, I will answer some live questions. So I know you've heard it in the past, be transparent. How many people? Show of hands, be transparent. That's a bunch of bullshit. I'm telling you here, right now. Most people have heard it, but they don't actually do it. I want you to think about that. Everybody says be transparent, be yourself, do things, but how many people actually do it? Do you hesitate when you type that line in that email? Why? Be yourself, be transparent, and basically because we live in the digital age of social media, everybody knows everything. So if you hold anything back and are not your true self, and I heard Jimmy talking about it, building your online celebrity, if you hold anything back, you're screwed. So be yourself. If you hold anything back, and I mean anything, people will know. Social media has absolutely made it impossible for anybody to hide anything. You post a picture on Facebook of you and your kids camping. How many people, you actually think about how many people actually see that? And I know many of you have added me as friends on Facebook recently. And thanks by that, but I really don't care if I offend from my posts or anything like that. I don't care. I'm just myself. If I use harsh language, if I use anything and you decide to unfriend me, okay. Thanks. Thanks for stopping by. But the solution, don't hold anything back. Be real. Be your true self and let it come across in your marketing and recruiting. Even in prospecting, recruiting people into your business, people will know if you're faking it. So don't hide your emotions and say what you really want to say. People can smell a phony a mile away. So thanks again to social media, obviously, but a little bit of disclaimer, I'm not a professional speaker. Anything I say from this point forward is not represented as legal advice. Please consult a legal professional. I have to say that, and you'll see in my presentation here in a minute. But how many of you are incorporated or have an LLC or S-Corp or anything like that? Ouch. There aren't very many hands up. So why? That's what I'm here to say. If not, you need to. You can get it done cheap. And I'm going to tell you exactly why you need to do so. And I mentioned before, you need to run your business like a business. If you want to make this a go, I work harder now than I ever did when I had a full-time job. And I was an electrician at one point in time. I worked like 14, 15, 16-hour days at some point in time of hard manual labor. And I work harder now because I have goals. I have dreams. I want to reach a next level. So I work harder now, but yeah, I have a bunch of free time, and I can take off when I want to, and I have my laptop up in the room, and I'm working from here. I was working from the airport. But the whole thing is, don't run your business like a hobby. If you run it like a hobby, you are going to fail. So the incorporating is going to take you to that next level. A couple of places you can get it done cheap are incorporate.com and legalzoom.com. Also, I recommend consulting your tax attorney on that whole deal. It looks more professional. People will take you more serious when you have a company or an incorporation. It also offers some legal and asset protection. And you always have to plan for the worst, no matter what. Nobody likes the worst stuff. I never thought that I was going to leave magnetic sponsoring. I never thought that, nobody ever plans for divorce. But you should. One of the most wise advice I ever got was, I'm planning to, at a guy on his wedding day, he was a multimillionaire. I was talking with him, and he's like, one of the first things I did, he said, I planned for divorce. I was like, that absolutely made no sense to me at the time, but he was planning for the worst, but you never know. It's a just-in-case factor. So it also offers some tax benefits and easier bookkeeping and records because you keep everything separate from your personal stuff. It's just the right thing to do if you're serious about your business, so treat your business like a business and not a hobby. So moving on, how many people here use debit cards? The ones issued to your bank. Okay, there's quite a few hands. Stop. And the reason is they issue it and they give you all cool benefits and all that fun stuff, but debit cards, especially online, give people direct access to your cash. And how many people want people to have access to all their money, basically? Show of hands. That's what I thought. But basically, having a dedicated business credit card gives you float. How many people have heard of float when it comes in business? Very few hands, but that's good for those that raise their hand. Float basically gives you a buffer zone to make that money back. So I spend $1,000 today on marketing. I don't have to pay for that for another 30 days. So it allows me a buffer zone. That's what float is. And you need to do that, and business credit cards are the only thing that can allow you to do that. It also gives you bonuses like miles, points, and cash back and all that stuff. I flew out here on the points that I accrued from my advertising expenses. So, I mean, how cool is that? Also, it gives you much easier bookkeeping options. There's this little thing, you get that statement every month that you really hate to get in the mail. And all you have to do with that, just hand it over to your CPA and say, here's all the money I spent last month. And they can itemize it and do all that stuff, but I use American Express, and they itemize everything. They tell me exactly how much money I spent and where I spent it and which categories I spent it in. And it still gives me float. So choose a dedicated business card that fits your business needs. You get payment options, miles, cash back, points. I prefer American Express because they absolutely love card holders. They hate merchants if you're trying to sell stuff online, but they absolutely love card holders. And there's several different business credit cards available. I use credit cards for not only personal, but as well in business, but I am cautious. I pay them off every single month because I have the cash, because I made it, and I only spend exactly what I have. If you spend over, just like in personal life, your business is going to fail. So legal and other stuff. So protecting yourself, disclaimers, terms of use, privacy policy on all your websites. How many people, you notice all those links in the bottom, right? Everybody's got them. I'm sure on the website that we had when you guys signed up for this whole deal is you saw terms of use, legal. But how many people pay attention to them? 1 or 2 people out of 800? Okay. Well, those are actually legally binding if you can convince your attorney to do so. But on if you're selling stuff on the internet, you need to have something on your shopping cart like what's pictured on the screen there. And you can see down at the bottom, we got terms, disclaimer, privacy policy, some other links and all that stuff. But when somebody checks out, this is actually the bottom of one of my order forms. And they have to agree to my terms, my disclaimer, and my privacy policy. And I pay attention to those. I update them, I change them on a regular basis. And I have my attorney help me because I want to protect my business no matter what. From refunds, from chargebacks, for anything. I want to give all the ammo that I can possibly have to make sure that my business is protected because, again, you got to protect yourself from the worst. So a couple places you can get, if you do not have them, privacy policy, earnings disclaimer, and privacy policy, terms of use, and earnings disclaimer. InternetLawCompliance.com. You can Google attorney Bob Silber, S-I-L-B-E-R, and you can also contact your local internet attorney. And I emphasize internet because your local Joe Schmo attorney is not going to necessarily know the internet law. So you need to make sure you grill them a little bit. So other stuff, I know I met a couple of actually CPAs in the hallway, so it's funny, but how many people talk to their CPA, their certified professional accountant, on a weekly basis? Raise a show of hands. Holy crap. Why not? Your CPA needs to be part of your team. You want to grow your business? Your CPA needs to know and needs to be a part of your team, just like think about if he was even on payroll. He or she was even on payroll. They need to be part of your business. They need to grow with your business. They need to be in the loop. I talk to my CPA once, twice, sometimes 3 times a week. It might not be for anything, but I make sure he's my best friend. He's a great friend of mine. I can go out for a beer with him, everything, but he knows exactly what's going on in my business at all times. And I ask him before I make a jump and do something drastic in my business. So how many people are going to start talking to their CPAs more regularly, except for getting around tax time? Everybody's hand should be up, but they're not. Because they need to be your best friend. Your business grows, they need to grow with you. Not just at tax time, it's like, here's a bunch of documents, here, tell me how much I owe, or here, tell me how much I'm getting back. And in business, you're going to owe a lot more than you're going to get back, typically. Another question.
I know you're not a professional, but in your knowledge, I've heard that it's best to incorporate in Las Vegas. Does it matter? Should you just do it at home, wherever state you're in?
I know exactly what you're talking about. He was asking if you've heard Delaware, Wyoming, Nevada, all that cool stuff. And those are cool and all, but if you don't live in those states, it gets expensive. Because you've got to pay, you actually have to be registered in your home state. So you end up paying fees in Nevada, and then you end up paying fees, like in my case, I live in Texas, so I have to pay fees in Texas, and I have to be registered in the state of Texas. There isn't a whole lot of value and reason to incorporate in another state, like Nevada or anything, other than they are very business friendly. And you can talk to your tax attorney or your CPA for more advice on that, but if you're just starting out, just incorporate in your home state. You can always change it later.
Yes. If you have like already a corporation, like an S corporation, can you DBA this business in that same corporation?
Yes, but I would talk to your tax professional again, CPA or tax attorney for that information. But yes, you can do a doing business as or a DBA to help, moving on maybe your company's XYZ Marketing Inc. or whatever. Then you can just say doing business as ABC Marketing Inc. or whatever like that, yes, you can do that with a already set up S corp.
Hi, in your experience setting up affiliate programs, just from kind of a cash flow and accounting perspective, which have you found to be better, to recognize the full revenue on your own books and then pay out affiliates, or to never take the full amount into your own company? And I know there's different ways to set that up.
Take the full amount.
And why?
Just for the sheer fact that it's much cleaner, because money coming in, money goes out. So you just keep it on the register there, as far as affiliate programs. Because you want to recognize all of that income, because you're going to have to pay taxes on it anyway, because you can expense it out. That's the best way. So register everything on your books, and then expense out as cost of goods sold is typically what I do for your affiliate program. What do we got?
Hi. First, Justin, I'd like to thank you.
Oh, thank you.
And I was wondering if you could describe a little bit more what you're talking about with the don't use your debt, because I actually use a company Visa debit card for just about everything.
Mm-hmm.
And secondly, you were talking about strong and weak points. I was wondering what yours are and how maybe we might be able to help you in certain areas if anybody has the ability.
Strong and weak points. Okay, first one is, if you use your debit card, stop. I just don't care. I don't know really how to express it, but just don't. Because you're using your cash. That comes directly out of your checking account. Why do you want to use your own money to fund your business? Use somebody else's. Use the credit card company's money for 30 days to kind of give you some buffer. And it's much easier on bookkeeping. Does that help? Yeah, because debit, you swipe the card, boom, it's out of your checking account right away. But if you do a credit card, you still have your money in your checking account. As long as you're a little bit disciplined, you're okay. As far as strengths, you mentioned strengths and weaknesses. Is that what you were talking about? My biggest weakness, and I'm going to be very candid, looks like I'm a minute over, actually, but I'm going to be very candid, is I try to be everything to everyone. I try to be the most giving person as I possibly can to everyone. And it gets painful. But that's my biggest weakness. My biggest strength is I'm very detail-oriented. But as far as my weakness is, I just try too damn hard a lot of times, and it comes around to bite me in the ass a lot of times. And but I'm still, I just believe you give, and you're going to get 10 times that, no matter how painful it might be. But it still gets very hard, and that's one of my biggest weaknesses. So, does that answer your question? Maybe? All right, well, everybody, thank you very much. This is great. Hope you enjoyed the presentation.